My name is Rick Rossi. I'm one of the campus ministers here at BC. Campus Ministry and the Church in the 21st Century is sponsoring Father Neenan tonight for Agape Latte, and welcome. I want to say a couple things before we start. First of all, there's plenty of food and coffee, and the coffee bar is going to stay open. Feel free to continue to get food, get up and move around as you would like while the presentation is going on. If you do that, simply be mindful of everybody watching, of Father Neenan, and the fact that we're videotaping. Some of you may have these devices called a cell phone or a cellular telephone. They have, it rings when somebody calls you, and some of them are equipped with a way to turn the ringer off or down. So if yours is equipped with that, go ahead and turn that down or turn that off. Thank you. Last month we had a great experience with Father Fleming, and we are sure we're going to replicate that with Father Neenan tonight. As with every Agape Latte, we want to make sure that our discussion is, and what happens here tonight is not just in this room, but it happens after tonight and takes place outside of this room as well by your conversations and actions based on what we talk about and think about tonight. I'm going to make an announcement. On your tables, there are two things I want to announce. On the tables, you have a little printout of this slide here, and I want to make you aware of two opportunities that Campus Ministry is offering this semester, two retreats that are happening, Busy Persons Retreat and the Manresa Retreat. This is when they're happening. In the Busy Retreat is at the end of this month, and the Manresa Retreat is over winter break, so it's something you would need to plan ahead for a bit. And the Busy Retreat takes place on campus here. It's not a retreat that you go away for. It's over the course of 9 days. There are 3 parts to it where you commit to about 15 or 20 minutes of prayer daily, number one. Number two is you meet with a spiritual director or a spiritual companion about 3 times over the course of those 9 days, whenever you can make time for that. And then there are 3 optional large group prayer services that are offered. Again, optional. That's the way it works. I highly encourage you to check it out. There are not too many spots left. The sign-up deadline is the 19th. If you have any questions, see me or check it out online. And you can also sign up here for either retreat. You just need to see Tony Gennaro. He's got his laptop set up, like we talked about, Tony. Thank you. And if you have any questions, the Manresa Retreat is, you may see it referred to as a 5-day silent retreat. And that's a bit of a misnomer. It's actually 3 days of pseudo-silence or quiet. It takes place on Wednesday to Sunday over winter break, the last week of winter break. So just before classes that Sunday, it gets back on Sunday the 13th, and then classes start Monday the 14th. I went on a retreat just like this when I was a junior in college at Holy Cross in 1993, and it was a fantastic experience for me. I highly recommend the Manresa Retreat. It's easy to think that on a retreat where everybody's being quiet, you don't really form community or get to know anybody else, and in fact, the opposite is true. You develop a pretty strong bond with everybody you go with. Experiencing being quiet with people for those days is a great thing. And it's actually not a 5-day silent retreat because you're only silent for 1 hour on Wednesday and then half the day on Sunday, so it's really 3 days. And you're talking to other people too, your spiritual directors. Check those out. And tomorrow night, last announcement. Well, you don't have flyers, but the movie Voces Inocentes is showing in Higgins 310 at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. It's about the civil war in El Salvador through the eyes of a child. Powerful, absolutely worth checking out. I highly encourage you to do so. Lastly, I want to acknowledge the people who made tonight possible, whose work and dedication established and Agape Latte and makes it continue. Bob Newton is the interim director of C21. John McGinty is the assistant director of C21. He's here as well. Nayla Rafol is the administrative assistant for C21, and the student advisory committee for C21 also made this possible. Can I make you guys stand up again real quick? Advisory committee, so people can see you. Thank you. And quickly, some of you got an email, those of you who were here a month ago got an email inviting you to reply back with a chance to win another $10 gift certificate to White Mountain Creamery. And those of you who did reply, you get to be chosen again to have a chance to get a raffle, and I'm going to do this somehow. I'm going to choose. The winner is on the ground. That's right. So I'm going to choose the winner for $10 to White Mountain Creamery. Those of you who replied to the email that we sent out, thank you. And well, Carrie, come here. Natalie Thornton, are you here? Of course she's not here. Okay. Mary Kate Costello. People know she's not here. She's sick? Take a memory of her. She wins. Let's give her a hand. Pick it up at the end. I have it. I'll pick it up at the end. I'm going to give it to you after it's over. I won't make it have a trip over here. Thank you, Joseph. Where'd you go? You're in.
Well, thank you, Rick, for that warm introduction and of all these different retreats that students can go on. I myself have not been able to go on one of these yet. I know, I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback here from John McGinty and Eden in the back that this isn't working. All right, it's working, great. But I know from other students, and I know Kaki Cemeteris has mentioned how wonderful Mexico was and other students, so I encourage you all to do that, of course, like Rick was speaking about. Tonight we have a very special treat. One of our own, Father Neenan, and Agape Latte is very pleased to present Father Neenan from the Society of Jesus tonight at Agape Latte. Father Neenan has an extraordinary career here at Boston College and is one of the university's most popular and influential administrators. He is an economist by trade and has been a member of the Boston College academic community since 1979. He's been here longer than me. I'm only a junior. He was the university's first Gasson professor. He served as Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences from 1980 to 1987. He then moved to become Academic Vice President and Dean of Faculties from 1987 through 1998. It was during Father Neenan's term as Academic Vice President that BC affirmed its status as a national university, achieving a ranking among the top 40 institutions of higher learning. Father Neenan is currently Vice President and Assistant to University President William Leahy, playing an active role in university capital campaigns. In addition to building BC's academic reputation, Father Neenan has added a special touch to this university's campus. He often publishes the Dean's List of recommended reading, including novels, biographies, histories, and other books that have made Father Neenan's top shelf. I myself have looked at this list before. I have yet to pick up a book. No, I'm joking. He is, as many of us know, a proud Sioux City, Iowa native and founded the Iowa-Nebraskan Luncheon Club, where each semester for the past 26 years he has hosted Boston College students from the Midwest. In 2004, Boston College established a William B. Neenan Society of Jesus Millennium Chair in Economics to honor his great legacy here at Boston College. He is called the soul of the university. Please join me in welcoming Father Neenan tonight to Agape Latte, Church in the 21st Century. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes. That's one question. Second question, do you want to hear me? Good. Okay. I got this in my pocket now. Well, friends, there are 15 luncheon clubs. There's the Iowa-Nebraska one, which is the original and the elite one, but there are 15 others also. The Minnesota, the Wisconsin, the Michigan Marching and Chowder, the Mocan Nodak Sodak, the SoCal, NoCal, the Rocky Mountain, the Pecan, the Peach, the Salmon, Alaska, Washington, Oregon, etc. Today we had our first meeting of the Illini Club, people from Illinois, etc. So, but the original and the elite one is Iowa, Nebraska. And if you want to be a member of that, you move to Sioux City, Iowa. Most people have considered the price too high, so they have not joined that. Now, friends, I have a PowerPoint presentation here, compliments of Lewis. But I'm going to begin it with a few words, if I may. I'm going to tell you what my theme is. I'm a Catholic. I'm a Roman Catholic. And what I say is going to be an explanation of the Roman Catholic approach to theology. And by doing so, I'm not making any negative comments about other approaches to theology. I want to make that very, very clear. I think in an ecumenical context, it's very appropriate that each group be allowed to express its particular viewpoint, rather than to get a watered-down common denominator where nobody expresses what they think. So my viewpoints are going to be that of a Roman Catholic approach to God, okay? And I'll be talking and contrasting it with some other approaches, but these are not to be construed as negative comments on any other group, okay? Understood? No whining? Got it? All right. Now, my theme is as follows. I'm going to press something here. This is, no one has ever seen God. If anybody here has ever seen God, check with the psychology department because you need help. Those who say, I love God and hate their brothers or sisters are liars. For those who do not love a brother or sister whom they have not seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. So the beginning of my thesis here is, no one has seen God. And the Catholic approach to this is that Jesus came among us. He became incarnate. Now that's a big fancy word which we rolls off our tongues, but let's make that into English. Karo means flesh. Jesus became enfleshed. God became enfleshed in a person, Jesus, a body that you could see, you can touch, who had pain. And these brothers and sisters that we see, we have been enfleshed. And all of us are signs. We're signs. We have a big Latin word called sacrament, which is merely the English for sacramentum, meaning a sign that signifies something that's more important than what you see. So Jesus is a sacrament of God. We look at Jesus, and we can't see God because no one can see God, but through Jesus and through each one of us, we see God. We approach God. So that's essentially what I'm going to be saying in various ways. We are, Catholics are a sacramental people. We are a signed people. There are signs. We have 7 sacraments, but everything is a sign. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate that in various ways. Okay? Now, I'm going to contrast the Catholic church here with this Calvinist church. Now, that poor little church there, the Calvinist church, we tried to do a little better. Listen, I wanted to get one of these New England churches where you're inside. If you've seen these New England churches, you go inside, and they're very plain. They have plain glass windows. They have a table there. Maybe they have a cross, but they're just a table. This is a fancy room compared with a New England parish church, a Calvinistic First Church Congregational Church. They're very plain. They're not sacramental. The Calvinists are not sacramental people. Now the Episcopalians are, the Lutherans are, but in the Protestant tradition, the Calvinist tradition, you approach God directly. You don't do mediating. You don't have sacraments. You don't have priests. You don't have holy water. You don't have stained glass windows. You don't have candles. You don't have incense. You don't have all this stuff. You approach God directly and immediately without going through signs. Through the Catholic approach, now if you've ever seen the Chartres Cathedral, how many have been to France? Seen some of those cathedrals? Yeah, you've seen, magnificent. The rose window and all these things, it's totally different than that plain Calvinist Church of New England. Totally plain. Very different. That's the Catholic approach the enfleshment approach versus the Calvinist approach. Now, we got some other symbols here. We got a New York Yankee cap, we got a Boston Red Sox cap, and we have a St. Louis Cardinal cap. Now, these are symbols. These are sacraments. When you see somebody walking around campus here, the New York Yankee cap, what's that signify? Well, it's somebody with an attitude, right? He's got an attitude. He's come right in here to the belly of the enemy, right here in Boston, and it's in your chops. I'm a Yankee fan. And you pick up that up, and there are all sorts of